All right, continuing on, we have Mario Bava's Hatchet for the Honeymoon from 1970. This is such an underrated Bava movie, and probably one of his least appreciated horror films. But I fucking love this movie. This is my fifth favorite Bava film. I think it's very different compared to most of his other horror films. This isn't a giallo. Even though it gets categorized as a giallo, there's no mystery here. There's no who's the killer or anything like that. This is a full on character study into this character of John Harrington, 30-year-old guy who works at a bridal dress shop or something like that he inherited from his mother who's dead. We hear narration from him throughout a decent amount of this movie, and Stephen Forsyth, the actor who plays John in this, great performance. This guy really comes off as a crazy lunatic, but John has this childhood trauma that he can't remember, and in his older years here he became a crazed serial killer who murders women who are about to get married with a cleaver. It's not a hatchet. I mean, they specifically say cleaver anytime that, it's brought up. Anytime that he has to say the word, it's cleaver. So, I mean, Hatchet for the Honeymoon is such a great title, though. I mean, Cleaver for the Honeymoon doesn't sound as good, doesn't have that cachet. So, for all intents and purposes, it's a hatchet, but it's really a cleaver. And every time he hacks up a new victim, he remembers more of that childhood trauma. It's a pretty interesting idea, and the script is pretty good for a film that had such a troubled production. And I read up and checked this because I wanted to get it right. Because I always remembered that the wife, Mildred, what's the actress's name? Laura Betty, who went on to play the medium who gets decapitated in Twitch of the Death Nerve. She got cast in this movie solely because, she had some breakout role in another film in Italy, and she got a very prestigious award. And then she ended up calling Bava and saying, hey, I got my Oscar. It's that prestigious of an award. And she said, I got my award, I got my Oscar. Now I want to do a film with you. So he didn't have a role for her, and specifically wrote the whole character of Mildred, John's wife, to accommodate her and to work with her in a movie. So it's kind of weird, and it kind of feels forced. If you don't know the backstory of it, because he wants a divorce, she doesn't want to grant him one, and she has all the money, it seems, and pays for his whole business, his bridal business, and she's an overbearing bitch, and he ends up killing her eventually. But then she starts haunting him, but it's heavily implied that it's him losing his mind, and he keeps seeing her even though he killed her, and other people are reacting as if she's sitting next to him and that she's alive, even though he hacked her to bits and he's carrying her around in a little briefcase or a handbag. So he's losing his mind, and he's absolutely nuts. But all of that stuff does work very well, so even if it feels a little forced, all of the Mildred wife stuff at the beginning of this movie, as it continues, it works very well. And there's some great shots, like all Bava films. The cinematography is excellent in this movie. The camera work is excellent in this movie. And there's not a lot of kills in this, or effects work or anything like that. You see John kill two other brides, I think, and his wife. That's basically it. All you see is some blood, basically, because he didn't have a budget for effects work. So he got creative as usual, and you'll see the hatchet swing, then the screen will crack open with a cool camera effect. So it's stylish as hell, even though there's not any gore really, no real effects to speak of. So I can see maybe that's what brings this movie down for a lot of people, especially Bava fans. There's not a lot of gore or effects or kills, but again, for me, this is a character study. It's all about John here. So the kills don't really matter, and they're done in such a original and creative and stylish way that for me it just adds to it. The score is great in this movie. This might be one of my favorite scores to a Bava movie. You have very Ennio Morricone type stuff throughout this, and then you also have like a lot of other movies from him around this time period, the late 60s, early 70s, like the Grateful Dead, Jefferson Airplane, jam band type psychedelic rock from that period. So all of that combined to make a really nice score. And the sound design's excellent in this movie too. There's some shots, especially when it's showing how crazy John is going, and when he sees Mildred, his wife that he killed already, and it just zooms in on her slowly, and there's this like buzzing sound that's just ringing out, and it's very trance-like. Like it almost puts you in a trance watching it. And combined with how beautiful the cinematography is, this is probably one of his most gorgeous movies. And the ending of this movie I really, really like. This whole film is very Psycho-esque. There's a lot of Hitchcock and Psycho vibes to this. It's not exact, but if you've seen Psycho and you haven't seen this movie and you throw it on, by the half-hour mark, you're going to start seeing the Psycho-esque, things here and there and the Psycho vibes. There's a scene, and I don't know why I always forget this movie. Whenever creepy mannequins come up, I always go right to Tourist Trap and Maniac and the Maniac remake, but there is an excellently shot scene in this movie. All the camera work, I mean, it's beautiful, and it's haunting at the same time with this, like, just wah pedal guitar playing these weird sounds and dissonant notes, and John's walking around this room. All these creepy mannequins, dressed like brides, and he's dancing around with one, and then they start showing the faces, and they're fucking creepy. So add this to the list of creepy mannequin films. But I don't want to full on spoil this, because this, in my opinion, is a Bava film that is like no other of his horror films, at least. This is its own thing. It's not a giallo, it's not a supernatural horror film, it's just a pure character study into the mind of a deranged lunatic. And I think it's better if you go in not knowing exactly what happens. But amazing cinematography, sound design, camera work, just creativity, the lighting, the color usage, all typical Bava stuff. And then the performances are great. The script is mostly good. The pacing is pretty damn good throughout all of it. There's not really much downtime here. And if there is, you're being stimulated in some way by the visuals or the score or the sound design in some way that it doesn't feel like downtime. But yeah, check out Hatchet for the Honeymoon from 1970 if you have not seen it. I always think, because this film came out after $5 for an August Moon, then he did 2 non-horror films, and then A Bay of Blood or Twitch of the Death Nerve released. I always think that $5 came right before Twitch of the Death Nerve, but then again, I think this was filmed before $5, but I could be wrong on that. If somebody is a big Bava fan and they know the answer to that, let me know, because I have no idea if $5 was filmed before this film or if it was vice versa. But alright guys, Final Destination Bloodlines, I'll have a review out on that sometime later tonight, but hope everyone's having a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.